it is a matter of great joy that I've managed to clear the civil services exam. And there's also a lot of relief that one does not have to go through the exam cycle once again, because it takes 1 year for one exam cycle to get completed. So there's a lot of relief as well. One is that I have a bit of family background because my uncle is a retired civil servant. My dad was also in the bureaucracy. One of my cousins is currently serving in the bureaucracy as well. So I had a bit of awareness or a background of civil services. And also in college, I studied in Indian Institute of Science Education and Research, Kolkata. So the usual career path for the students there is to go for a PhD after graduation. And for me, I didn't exactly want to get into a PhD, so when I started scouting for other opportunities, I thought maybe civil services is something that I could try, because I was part of the student activities there and I enjoyed the leadership opportunities that it provided. I wouldn't say that the preliminary preparation was distinct from the overall preparation for mains and interview, because one has to take an integrated approach. So for the first attempt, in fact, I was part of the Insights IAS Academy in Bangalore. I was part of the classroom program. So for 1 year, it was a rigorous classroom training with regular classes all through the day. And after that, I referred to the standard books. Apart from those standard books, I used to read 2 or 3 papers every day, the Hindu, the Indian Express, and apart from that, I also used to refer to the business standard. So this kind of an approach helped, especially for the prelims and also for the mains as well. Readjusting did not, I did not have much time to actually readjust, because immediately after the prelims were over, within 4 or 5 days, the mains test series started, and that actually helped. Writing the test series regularly and getting them evaluated, that actually helped a lot. So there was very little time for readjustment, and checking the keys, the answer keys, I was mentally prepared that yes, this time I'm going to appear in the mains. There's a very high probability of appearing in the mains, so I started preparing immediately after that. Usually my schedule consisted of preparing for the general studies papers in the morning along with reading the newspapers. And during the evening and the night, I used to focus on the optionals, because 500 marks component in the optionals is a very significant part. So I did not want to neglect it. So I used to divide my time accordingly between the general studies and the optional papers. For the interview, I was fortunate that I had the guidance of multiple excellent and expert people. One is Mr. Vinay Kumar at the Insights Academy, who conducted, I think, 5 or 6 one-to-one mock sessions, each of around half an hour to 40 minutes. And he used to give me very expert, very critical feedback, and that helped. Apart from that, my uncle, who I refer to as a retired civil servant, Dr. K. Satyanarayana, he used to conduct mock interviews for me online when the pandemic happened, because the academies were closed at that point of time, and he did not want me to lose touch with the ability to articulate or to think. So during that pandemic time, he used to conduct weekly or once in 10 days, he used to conduct mock interviews, and that helped a lot. The questions in the interview were very general, opinion based, and revolved around my profile. Like, one of the questions was, I studied in a government funded institute. So the question was whether education in India has to be funded by the government, or should private players also be allowed into it, especially at the higher education level. And another question was about why India continues to be a democracy despite countries like Pakistan and Bangladesh in the neighborhood having seen military dictatorships or military rule in general. So why does India continue to be a democracy? How is it sustaining? And I was also asked about why democracies across the world are becoming more authoritarian in the recent years. So these were the kind of questions which have no specific answers and were more opinion based. For the public funding of education, my response was that at least at the school level, so that the education has to be publicly funded, so that we impart a basic level of skills, basic level of education to all people, and affordability should not become an issue. But at the higher education level, while we already have excellent publicly funded institutes in terms of IITs, NITs, IISers, we should also allow private players so that people who can afford to pay should pay. So that was the answer for the education question. When it comes to the question about why India continues to be a democracy, I said the quality of civilian leadership that we had at the time of independence and the way the leaders invested in building democratic institutions helped a lot to strengthen democracy in the country. And as a civilization, we have been inherently democratic. Even within the tenets of Hinduism, we have heterodox traditions. So there is no dogmatism within our religious or our social fabric as well. So as a society, we have been inherently democratic, which is why we are continuing to sustain. When it comes to the question of why democracies are turning authoritarian, I focus more on the economic part of it, where democracy coupled with capitalism led to companies seeking profits in developing countries where their cost reduced and their profits increased, which meant that the labor class in the developed countries lost out because of industries shifting elsewhere, which is why they focused more on people who, like Trump, who actually said we are going to bring the jobs back, we are going to make America great again. So that resonated with the masses, which is why we are seeing a more authoritarian turn in the democracies. I would say the COVID pandemic affected the preparation in the sense that one had to sustain the same level of intensity and focus over extended periods of time. Especially even after the mains results came out, our interview was also postponed, which meant the same focus or the same intensity had to be sustained. And at a personal level, my parents were affected with COVID before the prelims, and my brother and I were also slightly affected with COVID. So I lost out 1 month of preparation because of what happened at home. But still, I was fortunate enough to actually clear the prelims and subsequently clear the exams as well. I would say the major suggestion or the major learning that I had as part of my preparation is that one has to focus a lot on writing, because 1750 marks is decided by writing. So as long as we continue to write a lot, make handwritten notes from the newspapers or the articles that we read, that is definitely going to help. And getting the answers evaluated by experts, be it in institutes or if you're fortunate enough to have people outside the institutional framework who can provide you with personal guidance, that is definitely going to help. So the writing practice is extremely important, and approaching the exams distinctly for prelims or mains or interview does not help. It has to be an integrated approach. So whatever we read for prelims helps us for mains, and whatever we prepare for prelims and mains ultimately helps us in the interview. So it cannot be a distinct in silos approach. It has to be an integrated approach for the entire cycle of the examination.
If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to our channel.